So we're just getting ready to do our round over on the back of the body while we have the chance to. So we've got our round over bit here, and we'll just be passing the body through and just forming a nice little, taking off these sharp edges and literally rounding over the corner. So again, as usual, I'll just put on my PPE and we'll just press ahead with that. So we're just over at the spindle sander here, so we're just going to give the body a quick rub all the way over just to clean up some of the edges and stuff, and then we'll get ready to move on to our veneer. So we're just getting ready to glue our veneer on, and we've got all our clamps over here ready. We've got 2 clamping coils. We've got which are templates for other Les Pauls, and we've got the veneer itself here, this lovely piece of bubinga. So we've just trimmed it roughly to shape, just to see how it's all going to fit. Just doing a dry fit and that to see how things are going. I'm slowly coming to the realization that we should have put this veneer onto the spruce before we put the spruce on, because I think we're going to have some issues when we do glue it down with squeeze out inside the F-holes and stuff like that. Not a problem on this side where we've got the rear cavity, but maybe a bit of a problem on this side, so there could be some weird awkward bits of glue we may have to get out, but we shall see. So anyway, just like we did when we were gluing down the veneers onto the back of the spruce, we're going to put glue on both surfaces, wait until it goes tacky, and then we'll just use some greaseproof paper and we'll iron down the veneer to get things started, and then we'll just clamp everything up and we'll leave it overnight then. So we'll bring you back now when we start that. So again, just like the other veneer we've done, we're going to put glue on both surfaces, spread it out, let it get tacky, and then we'll get ready to put it together. And as we said, because this glue is water based, it's probably going to make this veneer try and curl up on us, so we'll just keep an eye on that as well as we do it. So our glue has gone nice and tacky, and so we'll start to try and get this in place. So as usual, we just kind of squish it around a bit just to try and help it take a bite on itself. Make sure we've got good coverage all the way around. And we do. And we use our greaseproof paper and our iron. That seems to be holding down okay, so we'll get our clamping coil in place, and then we'll just try and get all our clamps on. So we're practically using every clamp we own to do this. Whew. So that's all our clamps on, literally all of our clamps. So we'll leave this to dry now overnight, and we'll come back and take a look tomorrow. So we've had our clamps on overnight, so we're just going to take them all off now, and this will probably take a few minutes, so we'll bring you back just as we're taking the last few off. So we're just on to our last 2 clamps here. So our clamping coil is coming off anyway, so we didn't get any glue squeeze out through the top. And we're looking okay. We've got a few little bumps there, but they're directly over where our cavities are. where the F-holes are, I should say, so we're not too worried. And again, on this side where the F-hole is, the other rear clamping cowl. So what we'll do now is we'll trim up all the edges and that, and start to work out where our cavities are, like our pickup pockets and stuff, and we'll start to cut those through and see exactly how we've ended up. So we've just trimmed up all the edges here, so it's not too bad, because we'll be coming back to cut our binding channel soon, and we're just starting to cut away our neck pocket and our neck pickup pocket as well, and we've located our bridge pickup as well, and from the back we can see exactly where our F-hole is going to be on this side, but we'll have to try and judge it on this side. So we'll just keep going ahead and we'll tear off more bits and pieces as we go along and just slowly start to trim it all back. So we've got our pickup pockets cut out roughly, very close, but still need a bit of cleaning up, and we've done one of our F-holes here, and this hasn't been easy. We were able to get it through the back, through the cavity, so the one on this side is going to be a lot tougher, but we've cleaned out most of it, taken it up nice and smooth, but still some final smoothing and shaping to do, but we're nearly there, and as we said, we'll crack on then with the far side now. So here we are several hours later, and we've trimmed away everything we can, and it's not looking too bad. There's a few areas we're not particularly happy with around the edges of the F-holes, so we're thinking about that. We may have a plan to do something slightly different, but other than that it's okay. We've got some chips and stuff around the side we're not too concerned about, because we're going to be putting some binding on it, and that should cover the majority of that. So that's probably going to be our next step. We'll think about cutting our binding channel. So the next thing we're going to do on the body now is we're going to cut our binding channel, and we still have a lot of sanding to do and stuff like that, but we're going to come back to that because we'll be doing scraping with the binding and such. So this is our rabbiting bit, which is going to cut our binding, and you can see we've got a large bearing here that'll run around the edge of the body, and we've got our cutter here, and if I can just hold that at the right angle, you'll see that that cutter will remove the exact amount, the thickness of our binding, if we can just get the angle right. And so what it'll do is this will run around the body and just cut out and just leave a little step all the way around that we can then attach our binding to. So we're going to press ahead with that now, and because we've got our little sloped angle here as well, that's going to be a little bit tricky, but we should be able to angle the router down as we do, and we'll just go around the whole body and do that now. So we've just cut our binding channel, and you can see we've created this little shelf now along here. So if we just take a piece of our binding, you can see how that's going to sit in place there. So we're almost flush with the surface and almost flush with the sides, but we can scrape them down and get them perfect. But that'll go there like that, and we'll be just using one big long piece to do the entire surface. So that's going to be our next task, will be to bind the entire body. So we're just starting our binding now, and we've just super glued in a tiny little piece here just to stop the whole thing moving. So we're just going to follow the body around, and we're going to tape everything in place, and once we're happy with all how it's taped up and that, then we're going to go around just like we did with our binding on the fretboard, and we'll be wicking some acetone in down into the gaps, and the true capillary action, the acetone will melt slightly the inside edge of the binding and stick it to it. So this binding is actually very brittle, so we're going to be taking it very easy. We're only going to be going about as far as here to begin with, and then once that's nicely held, we're going to be using our heat gun just to relax this and let it all bend in naturally without forcing it, and we'll just keep doing that until we go all the way around and right to the front. So as we said, we'll start taping this up, trying to keep things nice and tight, and then we'll come back with our acetone. Okay, so we've got all our binding in place and it's all taped down. And so we've got a syringe here full of acetone, and we're just going to go around all the edges, as we said, and just wick this in, and that should do the job of holding it all in place for us. So we'll just start over here, and we're dripping badly, and we'll just keep a nice little bead of it flowing down and into the channels. So that's our binding done, and we've wicked in acetone all the way around the area to get that to stick. So we're going to leave all the tape on that, and we'll leave this overnight and come back to it tomorrow, take the tape off, and then we'll get ready to start scraping it all down flush with the rest of the body.